Alright, so this is the part where I get cocky and mess everything up. I'm by myself, so I shouldn't mess around too much. But I kind of found this new area of the pond to explore, and I want to see if I can cross this. But I don't have a winch, and I am by myself, so this is pretty dumb. Ooh. "100% could not have done that without the locker. This tire drugged me through it. It would have just flipped over otherwise. That tire would have started spinning and this one would have just bloop." That was cool. So that was the best test of the locker we've done so far. Alright, so the Pioneer 500's got a gear reduction and a front locker now. Very excited to test this stuff. Took me like, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours yesterday to get all the work done. A huge amount of work on these Pioneer 500s because the engine's kind of buried in there. But yeah, I got another video, I think it might be up already, about installing the gear reduction, and another one about some locker stuff, so check those out if you're interested. But yeah, this is just messing around in my local like test area in a pond, trying to test the locker. But the real test will be when we take it out to some ruts. The problem is most of the trails are dried up right now. Alright, testing out the 35% gear reduction and the front locker. So always change as many things at once as possible. Oh, pro tip, if your Honda has a long crank time, turn the key on, wait till you hear the clicking done, and then start it. That's Honda's EFI choke. Yeah, first gear is stupid low now. See how it's having a hard time going into second? All the other gears seem fine. Some Pioneers, when you do a gear reduction on them, have a hard time going into gear, which is pretty interesting. I did not even change the clutch springs on this one. Oh, someone got stuck here and threw a 4x4 in it. That's great. Well, it's a big place to test at the locker at least. Too dry. So I got it in 4-wheel drive now. Let's see how it steers with the locker. Oh yeah. It steers basically like a spool in 4-wheel drive. That is to say, it doesn't really steer. Yeah, turning radius is huge. Take it off, rev it up. Let off and shift. Electric shift issues, pretty standard. Second gear through here. God, this thing is bouncy. I can't wait for my new shocks. All right, listen closely. See if you can hear the ratchet. Now that it's got gear oil in it and it's a little broken in, the ratcheting noise is actually quite subtle. I wonder if I can get around this thing. You'd kind of think it'd be really deep here, but I don't know. Let's see. Now we need some 4-wheel drive. Let's try out that locker. Oh yeah. Not a problem. Let's see how far we can go this way. Oh yeah, it wants to flip over as soon as I hit those cattails. Ugh. Just gotta sit in the passenger seat. That's the ticket. Having the idle set up high is really nice on this thing. Unfortunately, you can't set it as high on the newer Pioneers. To make this more fun, I have 1 bar of gas, so that's good. I've never gone anywhere near this far around the pond before, so this is totally uncharted territory. But I'm feeling pretty confident with my locking differential. Taking the plug out of the cooler because I need to rinse it out. The cooler. Idling, headrest deep almost. The bottom is pretty hard here, interesting. I think I'll do that one more time to really get her cleaned out, you know. This might be my new wash-off spot. You know why? It's in the shade. Here we go, guys. Just, you know, always test your snorkels, idling nipple deep. We can rinse up the top of the cooler now. Oh, very nice. That's how I clean my stuff, you know? All right, let's get out of here. Don't ever floor it when you're deep like that. You will just sink. Creep and crawl, creep and crawl. That's the ticket when you're going deep. So that was highly successful. The only mod I'm really waiting on before I try to take this thing to Brick Lake is I'd really like to have my Sportsman shocks on here for some better articulation and get the rear ground clearance up some. But other than that, I feel like it's pretty much good to go. I am gonna buy some spare axles because I think I have a rear one clicking. So yeah, but other than that, man, this thing's a unit. Definitely like the new gearing. I mean, first gear in this thing was already low enough to spin 32s in most situations, but now it's got plenty of torque for anything I'm going to throw at it. So if you're curious about that shifting issue I'm having, it's kind of a weird one. So a lot of Pioneers, when you install like a 60% reduction, they do that in every gear. You have to let off the gas to make them shift, and those are newer Pioneers, which are a little more picky about RPM and shifting. The fact that this first generation, aka 15 or 16 Pioneer is doing it is weird. It's also weird that it's only doing it going from first to second gear. It could mean my electric shift motor's on its way out, but it seems to shift fine in other situations, so I'm really not sure. But yeah, these electric shift motors are funky. I do have the speedometer healer on here set at 35%, and it's not throwing any codes, flashing, gear position indicator, nothing like that. Everything's working normally, but it doesn't like to shift from first to second now. And I didn't even change the clutch spring. So this is kind of a weird issue that me and Reduction Boss have been talking about because for some reason, some Pioneer 500 shift funky after a gear reduction. And we really don't know why. You can always, you know, figure it out. You can make it shift, right? It's just kind of like a learning curve thing. But some are totally fine and some get weird. It's very interesting.